Hello, Hairouna 2021. I am so excited to be here today with the animation makers of the films that we just saw as part of the animated short selection for this year's Hairouna Film Festival. We are here repping with filmmakers from across the Caribbean, and we're so excited to talk to you about these films. Big up the Vinci crew in the audience, big up all the Caribbean people in the audience. My name is Kafi Kareem, and I am the creator of Big Man Dan. I'm also the founder of Storyplay TV, which is a company taking Caribbean family videos to the world. And I'm here with these amazing creators of Irma, of Reflexion, of the pilot episode of Battledream Chronicles, the series of Celflux, of Soufrière Eruption, and all of the great films that we just saw in that collection of animated shorts. So why don't we introduce ourselves, starting with the maker of Irma.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Thanks for having me. So I made Irma, which is a short film animation. Should I say something else?
What's your name? Tell everybody your name in case they missed it.
I am Lisa.
And where do you come from, Lisa?
So I'm currently living in Paris, but I studied in London, and my film is happening in Guadeloupe because I'm from there. Yeah.
Okay. So Irma, and for those who don't remember, although we just saw it, but it was a lot of films, Irma dealt with a hurricane disaster and a child going through the experience of a hurricane that was about to hit, right? Yeah. So next up in the lineup, we have Celflux.
Okay, greetings everyone. My name is Everard McBain. I am the creator of Celflux. It's out of we have a small animation studio here in Trinidad and Tobago called GFX Animation Studios. And my wife and I worked on creating Celflux, along with some awesome voice actors. Yeah.
Superhero, Caribbean superheroes. Anybody who's watching us who hasn't seen the films yet, you need to see this film because it's gonna make you feel like you could save the world. So you need to watch it. Next up in the lineup is Reflexion by Senor Alain Bidard. Hi, Alain.
Hi, Kafi. My name is Alain Bidard, and I'm an animator from Martinique, where I have my studio Pagode Films, and my main activity is to create animation film, short and feature one too, because I've created my feature film 6 years ago, and I think that.
All right.
I think that's it.
Okay. Thank you for joining us. I'm so excited to talk to you again. And next up, we have 1979, La Soufrière Eruption. Alain, don't kill me for my French, but do you want to say the title of that film for us?
La Soufrière.
Yes, that's it. La Soufrière Eruption by the team at North 11.
So,
you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Hi. Everyone. I'm Arnaldo James from North 11. And 1979, La Soufrière Eruption was commissioned by the amazing folks at the UWI-SRC Research Center. Myself and Johan Medford led the team of animators who include Samantha Farmer, Aline Baksh, Matthew Mungal, Sean Wilson Goodridge, Tivona, Mac David, and Joel Cabrice. So that's our team of animators. And yeah, we developed this with the UE Seismic Research Center as part of their Volcano Ready program that's been running on for St. Vincent. And yeah, that's on a list of a number of other like volcano and like seismic safety related animations that we've been working on with them.
Nice, nice. So this is our second disaster themed animated film, and
Love
it was a
Irma.
good one, a really, really good one. All right, next up in the lineup, we had Don't Say His Name 3 times, Bwa Kaybo. I'm only going to say it once, because if I say it 3 times, you know what happens. We're the makers of Bwa Kaybo. Are they here?
Hi,
Hi.
Yes, I'm Frederic Tessonneau, the director, and I'm with my friend Luke Gama. He's gonna trying to translate me tonight because I have an English not perfect.
That's all right. My English sucks too. So we're on the same page. But I didn't bring a translator, but you will be okay. Thank you for coming out. I really, really enjoyed your film. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who has seen it, but most of the audience has seen it. And I think that, you know, we might have some trouble sleeping tonight after we saw that film. All right. Okay. Next up, the final film that closed out the series of shorts was Battledream Chronicles, A New Beginning, which is also by Alain Bidard, who we've already met. And Alain, would you just help us understand what we just saw in terms of the pilot and what it means for the rest of the series for us, just to understand?
The pilot of Battledream Chronicles is it's an adaptation of my first feature film, and it was done during between 2016 and 2018, and everything started with the big pitch of the Caribbean Tales in Toronto, where I was competing with a lot of other filmmakers from all over the world, and Battledream Chronicle was one of the winners. And I was offered the possibility to create the pilot. So this pilot took 9 months to get done. And after that, thing went a little bit slow, and the TV channel that was attached to the project, they left. So we don't exactly know about the future. So it's in hiatus since we are waiting, but it's going to return.
Well, you left us with a cliffhanger there that has us on the edge of our seats, waiting to see what's gonna happen next in this world where they're slaves and the plantation is a video game. Dun, dun, dun. Yo, bad it. Some really good stuff. Okay, so as an animation maker myself, I was really happy to see all of your films, and I want to congratulate you for being selected to be part of this year's Hairouna Film Festival. It always makes me so happy to be among my fellow creators, and I'm so happy to see such a wide range of you here. I wanted to start my questions for you. If we don't have anything from the floor, let me see. Anything from the floor? Nothing from the floor yet, nothing from the screening audience, so I'm gonna jump in. Yay. With the team from North 11, and that's you, right? Arnaldo? Okay, so I loved the creative direction of your film. We had a lot of like unnatural colors in terms of, we had blue people, purple trees, a yellow cow. Can you talk to us about your decision to make the art so unnaturalistic, because it really stood out as an interesting choice?
Oh, well, so our creative lead on that was this amazing, I want to just use the broad term, creator, Nadia Huggins, out of St. Vincent, and she really worked as that creative lead and liaison between us and the UWI-SRC. So a lot of the visual work that we did in conceptualizing and developing that stemmed from artwork that she had already produced as part of this volcano readiness program called Volcano Ready Act, right? And I think delving a bit more into like conceptually what was working that out, I think those choices kind of lent itself from partly work that she had previously created through all of the graphic images that accompany that campaign, but also the bizarreness of that situation, waking up and your world has changed. And I hope, as you pointed out, like that helped tell that story, which is by the, again, talented Vincentian poet Tajo.
Okay, so we have the Vinci crew repping all up and through this film. Nadia Huggins, creative direction, and we have a poem that you said was by that's Maxwell Francis. Did you say the poem was by? Okay, and he's also from St. Vincent.
He's also from St. Vincent. I think I used Tajo because most people know him by that name. Okay. But yes, that is, you call his exact government name. Yes.
Sorry, Tajo. I just read the credits. I will call you Tajo from now on. Don't beat me. Oh, wonderful. So I want to jump to you, Lisa, our other disaster film. You made a very abstract film that I thought did a really good job of capturing the emotions of sort of, you know, waiting for a hurricane to come. I remember being a little girl growing up in the West Indies, and when it's hurricane season and you know that one is about to pass through your island, there's definitely a mood, and through your abstract film, you captured it. I wanted to talk to you also about the color choices that you made. Because there was a lot of and the color choices that you didn't make, because there was a lot of black and white and then pops of color, like with the boards that the people were using to board up the houses and stuff. Can you talk to me about those choices that you made and why you made them?
Yeah, sure. So the choice I made was really because I could have done a more colorful film, like with more, like, you know, when you think about Caribbean and when you want to set up your films on there, you want to make like a lot of colors because it's beautiful there. But at the same time, I just wanted to show like tell a story, which is in a very like fragile moment and vulnerable moment of the islands. So I didn't want it to show off. I just wanted to let the story speak for itself and avoiding being too beautiful in terms of color and having like the beautiful trees and everything, the sea is so blue and everything, because for me it wasn't the point. It was more about the mood, as you said before, like the the strange atmosphere you have, and this is more what really happened than what we really imagine of Guadeloupe. So this is really very white and clean.
I think it was a great choice. It was like almost like, you know, all the color was washed out because of the hurricane, you know?
Yeah, it was yeah, because also in this moment the feeling is really like you feel everything is on pause and everything is empty. So I really wanted to like empty the screen as well and having just the little touch to keep the people looking at the film but not being be really like empty, and everything is very fragile and can be washed up. Yeah.
Yep. I love it. I love it. I love that. Okay. So next, Alain, I'd like to jump to you. Let's talk about Battledream Chronicle. So here we have this world of slaves. I'm going to say the line again because I'm so in love with it, where, you know, the slaves are on the plantation, but the plantation is a video game, right? And we have this sci-fi universe that you've created. It's a dystopian sci-fi, would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. So one of my favorite things about dystopian sci-fi is they can be really good commentaries on society and, you know, life and the things that we experience in life. And I know that there's the obvious theme of slavery, which is a historic theme in terms of our experience. But would you say that there are also present day themes that play out in the film?
Yes, because it's when I created the feature film and the pilot, the idea was to warn people. It was some kind of cautionary tale about what could happen in the future, because the idea that we have to to keep to remember from slavery is that we must never come back to that step in our evolution. And the problem is there is a lot of red flags. For example, in Europe, the rise of the right wing. There is a lot of case of racism growing and growing. And it's really, it's when I created the film, I really wanted to make people think about, are we not going backward? Maybe we think that slavery is in the past, but if we don't keep the lesson from it, we are going to make the same mistake, and it may be worse. It may be worse because now it's going to be with computers, with all our technology, and it's going to be probably more difficult to escape. So.
Okay, lovely. So when I was watching, I'm glad you mentioned that, because when I was watching, I definitely thought of like the states of the world today. And there was this one scene where a lot of the slaves, the new young recruits on the plantation, are going in to fight a battle. And there's this one slave that's all like, you know, yeah, let's just seize the day, optimism, we're happy. And everybody else is just like, what's wrong with you? Because we're about to go fight and we might lose our lives. And that just to me reminded me of like a metaphor for the everyday grind, almost. Like, you know, the everyday grind, the man and the master could be capitalism. It could be any kind of boss you could substitute as the master, and having to, like, you know, get up every day and do this grind that's so hard. You could substitute the fight for any kind of grind, right? A 9 to 5 job that you hate, or you know, whatever. It could be anything. And so I'm really glad that you mentioned that you were looking at the states of the world also, and looking at what's happening in Europe, and that I think your intention to put those themes in the pilot were definitely successful. So congratulations on that. You're welcome. Okay, so Bwa Kaybo. Bwa Kaybo. Let me see here. Got you on my screen, right? Okay, so let's see. We have a moving comic in Bwa Kaybo, right? It's like a moving comic, and then we cut to live action. What made you want to combine those two art forms?
It's complicated to explain all the difficulties we found when we realized this project, but I'm gonna try to the essential.
Okay.
Oh, so
at the beginning.
Yeah, at the beginning, I have a story which named Le Fridgeman. But we have trying a session of rush, and we lose all the rushes after. So I had to better white back a new story, and that's done Bwa Kaybo. And I have no, I had I had my friend Joan Nelton, who is the director of production, and co-director, and he's proposed me to work with PJB, excuse me, PJB, and because PJB is very, very, very good with his pictures. He's an illustrator, and designer, graphic designer. And when I saw his work, I directly be okay with his job, his work.
Nice.
You know, and at the beginning, it was a project to be a reference from Guadeloupe in the horror movie, but we met a lot of difficulties, so we have to reorganize. Thank you. We organize the work plane to have something for the public, something very portable, interesting. Sorry. So I have an answer to your question.
Yes.
Or something else?
No, that's a perfect answer. So from what I understand, it was sort of a happy accident in that you had all these difficulties. You had to find a way to overcome them. And the way that you overcame them was to come up with this genius idea of combining the motion comics with the live action so that you could have a finished, interesting film for your audience and deliver. Yeah?
Exactly. Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. And so what would you say is the moral of the story? We just talked to Alain about like some of the themes in his films. What would you say is the moral of Bwa Kaybo?
Okay, I'm gonna tell him in French and in français.
Okay.
Voilà, c'est pas à manipuler au monde, surtout là où passe à l'eau.
Okay, hello everybody. It's a kind of very Caribbean moral. It's a don't touch things of someone else. Don't touch what it. C'est ça? Okay.
Yeah.
Don't touch things of someone else.
I got that for sure. If I had to translate it to Trinidadian, I would say don't teeth people think.
Yeah.
Don't teeth people think. That's what I thought the moral of this story was. And so that definitely came across. And it's nice that it combines, if anybody's like familiar with the Candyman franchise or any of those like horror movies, it combines the suspense and horror of that with if you do teeth, Bwa Kaybo coming for you. Yeah. So that was wonderful. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Good job. Good job. I really enjoyed it. Okay, so I want to talk to Celflux. Celflux. Superheroes in focus. So we see in this short, we are introduced to the guardians of the 6 realms. And Chima is the first character that we're introduced to, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then he introduces, and Chima's facing a monster. And then he introduces Papa Bwa and a bunch of other guardians. What was the inspiration for the names of the guardians? Tell us a bit about how you came up with who are these guardians of the 6 realms.
Well, without giving away any spoilers for the episodes that should follow, basically, an imagined world where the characters of folklore are real. So Chima is an appointed guardian of the 6 realms. The 6 realms are the 6, if you want to call it, land masses or races that make up New Genesia, which is the world of Celflux. And he is sort of the spiritual guardian that watches over the 6 realms. And he has the ability to call upon the powers of the guardians that went before him. So if you're from the Caribbean, you will be familiar with Papa Bwa and the other guardians that he called upon. So that's where that inspiration comes from. The creature, the name of the creature is the Ancient Destroyer of Worlds. And he was actually summoned to New Genesia to wreak havoc. And the first person he runs into is Chima, the Guardian. As I said, I can't go into the spoilers of what will happen next and so forth and so on. But that's basically what happened in the short that you saw there, the short episode, the first episode.
Awesome. Like when I saw Papa Bwa come on the screen, I definitely was like, hey, look, Papa Bwa. I was really excited to see him, having grown up hearing the Papa Bwa folklore. So I think that's one of the, one of the achievements of your film, that you get like a whole new way to get people excited about Caribbean folklore, which is exciting. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're very welcome. So we have some questions. A question for everyone from Himon Bergen. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Himon Bergen. What are the benefits of using animation over live action as a means of telling our Caribbean stories? I can start as the host and as the maker, Big Man Dan. For me, one of my personal benefits was that animation is a little bit easier for me as a mother to do from home. With live action, you have to go out in the field and be on set, and it's harder to stop and start with live action because of continuity issues. Like if you start and stop a scene and you go back and shoot a scene, and even if it's indoors, you have to reset that set to match exactly what you left off. With animation, you're creating art that's a little bit more static, which means that if you leave it and come back, it's not magically gonna change. And so the continuity is easy for a project that isn't continuous, and it's also easier for me as a mom to do from home. That's my answer. What about you, Everett? What do you think are some of the advantages?
I like to quote Walt Disney, who famously said that the only limit to animation is your imagination. And that's the beauty for me of your animation. Anything that comes to your mind, you could produce with animation. It wouldn't be so easy. I suppose you could with VFX and stuff in a live action setting, but it's much more difficult with live action to create the things that you have in your mind. Like you come up with an idea and you want, not calling any particular, but you want someone to walk on a wall. Mm-hmm. It's much easier to do in an animation setting than it is live action. So that for me, that was the seller, Yeah.
You are so right. And even with VFX is a type of animation, computer generated, computer generated images. That's also a type of animation. So all of that fantastic stuff, you're so right. You get to go way more outside the realm of reality. Alain, what do you think?
There are two benefits for me. The first one being the budget. If you want to do something with live action, budget grow really, really fast. And in animation, you can keep the budget really low and do incredible things. So that's the first big thing for me. And the second one is emotional. when someone is watching animation, they assume it's not real, so they lower their emotional defense, and it's really much easier to enter the emotion of the viewers rather than live action, where you build better defense because you know everything is real.
Do you see how smart these filmmakers are? The psychology of animation. That's awesome. Thank you for that insight. You're so right. You're so right. And that's probably why it's also such a powerful medium for both kids and adults, right? Because you can really get in there into people's minds. Arnaldo, what do you think?
Hiya. I'd love to echo everything you just said. I think what kind of came to mind for me was I think like in the 90s when CGI wasn't as great. And I think about a film called, I think it's Perfect Blue. It's a Japanese anime. And there's a lot of, I'm going to be cautious, there's similarities between that and the Oscar-winning Birdman for me. I don't know how many of you have seen that. And recognizing that, like, at the time, I think Birdman wouldn't have been as effective in its communication as Perfect Blue was for allowing viewers to suspend their disbelief in a story that was so fanciful. But as CGI, which is animation, improves, I think it affords us a number of things. And for me in particular, I think it's not exclusive to, but certainly in the realm of science fiction and fantasy, I think animation just really allows you to go that extra mile and also stay within budget, because the way economies are set up, props and harnesses and people, the people that are involved to get those things in place and keep the continuity and all of those things, as you say, can push your production into spaces that as Caribbean filmmakers, we have not yet been afforded the budgets. But I'm proud of everyone on this panel and every animator out there that's in the struggle.
Still we rise. There is no struggle.
Always. I take that from unions. Unions, almost every Trinidadian union is just like the eternal struggle. So that's actually where that comes from.
I love it. And I'm going to quote you there. You're like, the way Caribbean filmmakers budget set up. It's a little bit tricky for us to, you know, achieve fantastical sequences and stories, but animation allows us to do that. So yeah, I love that. That is so true. We get to all sides of this question. Benefits of using animation over live action for Caribbean stories. Lisa, what do you think? The make of Irma.
Yeah, I like the answer of everyone. It's nice to hear from everyone. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, for me, I just feel like I just want to tell stories, but I don't want to go outside. And I think it's the same. Like, I don't want to convey people, looking for actors, good actors, and then they don't do the good thing I want to do. They don't express the thing I want to. I want to control, I think, everything to deliver, because I feel in my work, it's all in the details. So I can't, I mean, I don't know. You won't feel what I want to do. Yeah, I don't know.
No, that's a great answer. So we have a little bit more control with the animation process, right?
Yeah, something.
A little bit more control.
Yeah.
So you're still working with voice actors, but at least in terms of the visuals, you have way more control, right?
Yeah. You can change the color of the skin of the people. You can change the color of the trees, and you can. I feel it's more. You can tell more with animation than you can with live action, because you can control everything. Yeah.
I agree, and we saw that in the films that we saw today, right? We had the in both of your films, Lisa and Arnaldo, we had all these interesting use of color, and we had the blue people and the yellow cows and all that stuff. So we saw We saw that in the films today. That's a really good answer. Frederic?
May I chime in just very
of
briefly?
course.
I just also want to applaud everybody on their song design. Every animator's sound design is quite impeccable. And Irma, just because Lisa just spoke, like Irma is such a, the visuals and the song that accompanied it to establish this waiting mood and this heaviness. Superb.
I agree. And as we say sound design, and we're going to get Frederic's answer. Bwa Kaybo. What do you think? What are the benefits of using animation of a live action?
I think possibilities are very large. By example, if you want to change a character, you can change the character by one click. You can change something in the environment as your choice. You can do anything. You can work with someone else by distance, and when you go sleep, this person can keep on working the project, and you can have another approach with the young public, because there's a lot of similarities with that they like. Yeah. So I think I answer.
Yeah, definitely. So we have the benefit of reaching young people, and then, like you said, it's easier to like pass on to different collaborators, and without having everything look like it's made by different people, right? Did I get it correct?
Yeah, it's another way to tell stories to young people, I think, because a lot of things are disappear with time. So yeah,
keeping traditions alive, right?
Yeah, with technology, there's no longer, excuse me, no longer granddad or grandma to tell stories near a fire with all the families around a fire with all the families.
Got it. Yeah. So keeping the oral traditions alive and knowing that the kids' eyes are on screens.
Yeah.
Putting the images out there in animation to reach young people is another benefit of using animation, because it appeals to young people and it'll help keep our traditions alive.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome. So we have some questions for Alain next. So Alain, I hope it's okay, but I'm going to call you the king of animation only because you were the first person from the Caribbean. I'll put a caveat, the king of scripted fictional animation, because you're the first Caribbean maker to do a feature animated film, right? So I don't know, isn't that true?
Yes and no. In the
okay.
Because in Cuba was first. They created. It was the only island who create animation feature film, and they created I think six film.
Okay, so you're second. You're second. Cuba takes the crown. You get a crown. It's just a little bit smaller than Cuba's home, but you still take your crown, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so a question for Alain, the prince of animation. Vulture Smith asks, what lesson does Battledream Chronicles speak of or try to show within its story through the characters?
There's something in the Caribbean that that is not really working well. We have to work it out a lot. It's teamwork, and it's really common that we create teams and teams break and we don't get along. And in this story, we have very different characters with different point of view, with different tempers, and they have to work alone. They have to work together, excuse me, to succeed to escape this plantation. And the lesson here is that when we work together, more get done, and we find bigger and better solutions.
Unity.
Yeah.
Unite the Caribbean and the world. Okay, and so then the next part of this question is, and how come the Bayesian 246 characters sounds Jamaican? How come the Bayesian 246 character sounds Jamaican? I think they're referring to the character with the trident on their thing. And the Jamaican character, I guess 876, sounds Bayesian.
Yes, because let's say that everything you plan don't always work out the way you want it to happen. And here we wanted every character to represent a place in an island of the Caribbean, but after that we had to find good actors and actors who were interested. And during the casting, things went sideways and we didn't find exactly what we wanted. So we found a really good actress for the Bayesian characters. So we say, hey, well, we're going to use that. And that's how it happened. We made a lot of changes, and the design didn't always follow the casting direction. So that's
Understood.
the reason why we have this.
Understood. What can happen will happen. It's show business, folks. The show must go on, even if the Bayesian character sounds like a yachty, right? The show must go on. Okay, so the next question from our screening audience is for everyone. We already answered this question with Arnaldo and Lisa, so we can do everybody else's. The question is about color. So this is from Shay JPHP, who notes that as a colorist, himself or herself, themselves, they were wondering what informed the color choices, themes, and moods of the animation. So we spoke about color in depth with Irma and La Soufrière Eruption, 1979. Frederic, do you want to start with the color? Talking about the color of Bwa Kaybo. Bwa Kaybo. I can't behave myself.
I don't know if I can answer to this question, because all the colors have been chosen by PJB, and sometime I think Joan Norton. But when PJB made his pictures, we gave him the direction we wanted. Excuse me. And he keep on keep on working on this way, and he proposed us so much rushes, so much pictures, and we just say okay with that's very interesting to us. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I saw a lot of red in there. Do you think that fits in with the theme?
Yes, because it's teamwork. We want very doing something when the spectator seen the film feel really our presence, our touch by the color, the picture, and the voice that are made. So, because we want something very emotion.
Yeah. Yep. So we wanted it to be really emotional and to touch people, right? So we
Yeah.
had colors that would make people feel the emotions.
Exactly.
Alain.
Something of strong.
No, you go
Something
ahead.
something of strong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Strong colors, a strong decisions.
Exactly.
I think it worked. It worked because I remember it very clearly, and it's really good. Alain?
For me, the color represents the color represents the state of mind of the characters, what they are going through. So it's always linked to what the characters are experiencing in the story, because those colors have effects on them because they are the one going through those experiences, but it also has an impact on the viewers because we are sensitive to the color, whether it's hot or cold, and it really creates something. And if when you go from one color to the other, to this scene, to this other scene, it creates a kind of symphony of color, and that really affects the viewers. So that's what motivates the use of color, the characters and the desire to impact and to trigger a particular emotion in the viewer.
Yeah, we had spoken about the color in all of your films before, and one of the things that you mentioned was that you deliberately have undersaturated colors. Can you let us know why?
Yes, because I want to get the closest possible from reality, and I really want to depict something harsher. Generally in animation, when it's really joyful, you have all those bright colors and very oversaturated. We are used to this language, and for example, in Japanese animation, you see a lot of muddy colors and washed out, and that really put us in a very different experience that is more real, more realistic, more dramatic, and I believe it's deeper. When you are making a drama, when you're making something that is not joyful, it's more impactful.
We're here for the drama. I love it. Everard, let's talk about the colors in Celflux. How did the color choices, inform the themes and moods of your animation?
Well, my reasoning behind the color is similar to what Alain just said. I grew up on 80s cartoons, which we know are full of color. So some of the color choices for the characters and their uniforms and stuff would be influenced like that. But just as Alain said, the Japanese have a technique that they use. They desaturate their colors. and they also add a certain filters and blurs and stuff that you actually forget that it's hand drawn. You know, you almost don't see the lines. So I basically try to mimic that in terms of the color. Also in the short that the Celflux short, I try to create a contrast between Chima and everything else that was in that scene. So you would notice that the creature, as well as the background and the ground, everything was either red or dark gray, and Chima was this bright blue object that was floating, you know, in the midst of all of that, you know. So I was trying to create that. I mean, even in the mind of the viewer, you know, they could tell just by the visual who is the good and who is the evil, you know, without them having to say anything. But exactly as Alain said, you want to create this particular mood, and you know, you desaturate, you dampen the colors a bit so that it doesn't come across too cartoony, you know, for so that the public sort of gets it as close to reality as possible. Yeah, so that was the reasoning behind the colors that I chose. Yeah.
Very interesting. I'm not surprised that you mentioned that you're a fan of 80s animation in that reply, because it felt like Thundercats, right?
Yeah. That was heavily influenced by not just the 80s cartoon explosion, but there was also a few feature films in the 80s that were animated, like Fire and Ice by Ralph Bakshi, and Rock and Roll, and all those. That I was heavily influenced by those guys. I realized back then that, you know, you could use animation to tell adult stories or mature stories, I suppose the word I should use, you know. And yeah, so just by practice, experience, and trying different things, you know, you come to the final product that you see in Celflux. Yeah.
Yeah, you're giving me a lot of homework. I saw Arnaldo's bullet finger go up in the air, because he was like, yeah, boy, bullet. I love them shows. I personally haven't seen them, but I'm making a mental list, and I have a lot of homework to do. Because clearly some people on this panel are very excited by those titles that you just said. So in terms of Big Man Dan, it started off as an idea that we wanted to do black and white, and it was not motivated by theme or mood. It was motivated by me being inspired by this short series that I had seen on YouTube called Simon's Cat. And I thought that black and white looked like it would be easier. And then I went to this incubator where I met Alain, and Christina, who was one of the producers who worked with the incubator, she advised me that if I want to reach a mainstream audience, that we need to maybe look at a primetime look for the Big Man Dan idea. And so me being a big fan of Seth MacFarlane's primetime animation on Fox, the Family Guys and the American Dads and the short-lasted Cleveland Show, all of those, being a big fan of those, we ended up developing a look with the animation director and my co-director, Shane Young Singh, that was sort of the reverse of what everybody else is talking about. Instead of going with desaturated, I really wanted the thing to be poppy. I wanted it to feel like hot sun colors. You know, you look at the hot sun, or you look at things in the hot sun, they just extra bright. And like anytime you leave the islands and you come back to the islands, you're like, whoa, everything here is so bright. Our birds are brighter, our flowers are brighter, our people shine brighter. Kidding. People everywhere are great, but Caribbean people are just a little better. Yeah, so everything is just so bright here. And so I wanted to play on the hot sun brightness. And even though the short that we saw tonight takes place at night, I still wanted that hot sun brightness. And in terms of the colors that we chose for the characters, for Big Man Dan, we were really exploring the idea of power. And so since we were exploring the idea of power and confidence, we wanted him to be in red. And I remember us making that decision about putting him in a red t-shirt. And a lot of the other colors that we chose just were instinctually made, like it was instinctual decisions. Like we had our background designer who he created some of the most fantastic parts of the piece for me, from my perspective, the bathroom arts. His name is Corey DeSamaro, and the facade that we see with the gingerbread house. He created that art, and he would send me different versions with different colors. And a lot of the choices I just made instinctually. Like I remember seeing the colors that he sent with the bathroom, and I was like, the yellow one. And you know, so as a director, I was just making a lot of some of the choices were instinctual, and some of them were motivated by you know, a deliberate desire to communicate something about the characters or the world. So that's my perspective as Big Man Dan. So we're at 8 o'clock. So anybody who wants to run away from the Q&A and go see what's screening right now, feel free to do so. I heard that it's still going to be available for streaming. But I also got permission from the makers for us to go over time if we need to. And we do have some more questions from the screening audience. So we're going to continue and push along because you guys are fascinating and people just can't get enough of you. And I don't blame them because you're great. Okay, so we have another question for Alain. This again is from Himon Bergen. As a French speaker, both your animations use English voice actors. What led to that choice being made?
The first reason was because it was a natural evolution of everything. My first film, my first feature film was created in French, but the reception from the French audience was really unexpected, to say the least. In Martinique, we have a situation when we are part of France, but there is a very colonial relationship. So there is a really power-motivated dynamic between Martinique and France. And one of the things that apparently doesn't really go well is the depiction of Martinican people in the, as heroes, moving the direction of things in the entire world, and that didn't go really well with the French industry. So there has been blacklisting stuff like this. So it was difficult to move forward with France. At the contrary, the English world was really, really welcoming. The Spanish world too. And so I felt like I was more, I had more freedom, more possibility to create, more possibility to express. And naturally, my following project, I start creating them in French and English too, to give me much more possibility. And well, while France is working their thing out. So that was what motivated the English cast.
Don't take this filmmaking thing lightly, folks. You see what's going on here? A big smile on his face, but we have a Frere Jacques, a freedom fighter, taking on the whole of France, and making sure that his art makes a statement. And I guess sometimes when your art makes a statement, you're gonna ruffle feathers. I think everybody who has something to say has probably experienced that, right? If you have something to say, not everybody's gonna be happy about it. And so congratulations again, Alain, for the bravery to keep pushing forward, even though you were blacklisted, even though you were presenting a message of empowerment that some people in power did not want you to present. Yeah. I think that's very brave, and it makes the franchise even more beautiful and even more powerful. So everybody, go look for this movie. You hear me? The movie and the movie screening and the shorts, and look out for more coming soon, I'm very sure. Okay, so we have a second part to this question. Also, I enjoy the fine motor skill animations in your work, the eyes, blinking, mouth movements. Could you briefly discuss your process in animating lip movements?
Okay, so to animate lip movements, the first step is generally to film myself mimicking what I want to make. So I create reference, video reference that I'm going to use. I start as many times as I have to, and when I'm satisfied, I'm going to use that, get the timing of the way I'm moving. I'm going to exaggerate and apply this to the character. I'm going to, so as I'm using 3D, I'm using what we call morph. It's you create the character, and there is a library of position for the mouth, for the eyes, for every expression, every emotion, and I'm going to put the character in a particular emotion, put the mouth in a particular position every 2 frames. And I'm going to do that with the audio file. And after this tedious work, I'm going to get the lip sync and the animation done. So it's faster than animating the body, but it's still a long process.
So just remind us, what was the name of the software that you mentioned?
I use Lightwave. So far, I've been using Lightwave. Lately, last year, they've been bought by a bigger company, and the bigger company decided to just stop developing it. So I'm going to change. I'm probably going to go on Houdini. And but so far, I've been using Lightwave.
Got it. Thank you for that. Do you see how much work goes into this thing? And some of us on the panel are also animators. Can you just raise your hand if you're also an animator and not just a producer, director type? If you animate your own work, can you just raise your hand? Lisa, Everard, Alan, and so some of us are carrying bigger burdens than others, but no, we're going to change our language. It's not a burden, it's a gift, right? Bigger gifts than others. And I have so much respect for the animation process. It's such a tedious process, and it's so detail oriented. So hats off to you, Lisa, Everett, and Alan, who are not only directors, writers, producers, but also salutes, as Arnaldo said, also animators. Like, whoa, leave something for the rest of us to do now. Gosh. Okay, so we have one last question from the audience, and it's a good one. It's for the Bwa Kaybo team. Frederic. All right, so are you ready for this question?
Yeah, I think to answer the question, you have to let the actors angry and thirsty, and yeah, until they want to bite you. And yeah, but this way they can work as they work in Bwa Kaybo. Because I know they really really happy to make this project with us, and because there was many friends on the stage, and they were laughing every time. They laughed. They laughed every time, and they have a good fun. They had a good fun. So yeah, they walk and they just make their best. So
the question came from Rory M, and Frederic and the panel were able to read the questions. So just to share the question out loud for everyone, the question from Rory M was, how can he improve his zombie walk?
Oh.
So this is the answer this is the good answer. You're saying starve the actors, make them really hungry and angry, right? Okay, so we're taking notes. Improve your zombie walk by starving the actors, make them really hungry and angry. And what else do we do?
Yeah. So promise them they will be well paid after the movie, and we lose the rushes. And a little bit of rum.
Okay. So promise. Okay, so are you hearing this, Rory M? You're gonna look at promise you're gonna be well paid, and then imagine that you lost all of the footage from your film, and that the person who told you that you're gonna be well paid is right in front of you, and then you're gonna walk.
Yeah. But at the end, we lose the rushes, and we had participated in two great film festival. The new Nouveau Regard Film Festival, the first, which is an international film festival too, like Hairouna, and there we are in Hairouna, so it's a good result for a zombie movie.
Nice. So okay, so we got our zombie movie on. We got our natural disaster prevention on. We talked about themes of systematic control and slavery and not returning to that history. We talked about superheroes and continuing the traditions of folklores. And we talked about a little bit about Big Man Dan and his fear of cockroaches, right? So I want to thank everybody for coming out. It was such a pleasure talking to you. And thank you to the Hairouna Film Festival for having us in your festival for 2021 and for representing for Caribbean animation. We have such a good lineup of filmmakers and films here. So as Hairouna told me, if you haven't caught it yet, you have, I think it's 24 to 48 hours to catch it, to catch the screenings that happen tonight. And you don't want to miss them because listen, these people are the best and they make really good films. So yes, 48 hours, says Hairouna. So we have 48 hours to catch the screenings. Thank you again, everybody, and have a great night.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.